like let this grow out and then like get rid of this. You know. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. And it's like you think you know, you know. But anyway, yeah. So welcome back. It's Thursday, which means that it is time for us to talk about various things that have happened in sport. I really like this. Various things that have happened in sports, as well as other things that's going on. So we have a list of topics. Just to let you know what's coming up. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, recap the second round. We're going to talk about the new Golden State coach and what that possibly means for what that possibly means for the Knicks, and is Melo going to stay over there? What do we think? And then we're going to talk about drugs in sports because with Gordon getting busted for marijuana and getting banned for a year, suspended for a year, we're going to touch on that. So, yeah, it's going to be a good show, but first let's go around the circle and talk about our weeks. Let's start with Scott, man. How has your weeks been? Because you've been missing in action.
My weeks have been pretty good, you know. Started a new job. My online training is done, so I've been on the floor, and what I've been doing is basically been greeting people as they came in and putting them in the queue, because in the afternoon we start getting busy. People are coming in, so I'll greet them, check them in, find out what they're here for, and then let the sales rep know with our little iPad things that they can see, you know, who's next and who's coming up, and kind of keep an order going. Did get my first paycheck last week, Friday.
Oh yeah, was it nice? Nice.
Makes everything worthwhile. Now, this isn't the job I was really looking for or expecting, but it's a job right now until I find something better suited for me. So,
gotta get that money somehow.
Ain't that the truth? Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta make that money.
Gotta make
those bills.
Somehow you gotta get it done. All right, let's jump across the pond and let's talk to Dawkins. How was your week, man?
Man, week's been pretty good. You know, same old, taking care of the kids, putting out videos, doing work, the stuff like that, man. Same old, same old.
You seem kind of tired, man. Are you okay?
Man, I'm always tired, man. I hardly ever get no sleep around here, but it's okay, man. I'm gonna wake up for the show. I'm excited to do it every Thursday with y'all.
Oh man, well, it's a pleasure to have you, Docky. It's a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate it, bro.
I think I'm gonna keep this. Tox, how
is mustache?
Don't you like it though? I mean, I feel like really.
Can't see it. You look like
stubble,
bro.
What stubble? What are you talking about, man? This took like a month to get, man.
Dude, this was like only like 3 days, 2 days.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if I let mine grow out, I look like Grizzly Adams in 4 days.
And I kind of like it, I must say.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, in 4 days I have a full beard, so I gotta shave on the daily.
Are you serious?
Serious,
yep,
bro.
me too.
Yeah.
You guys, you're hairy men. That's all it is.
Manly men.
Anyway, moving on because this is a PG show.
Is it now? Good.
Computer love.
Well, they still need the hygiene. They still need to learn about hygiene and grooming yourself. So that's still part of PG.
Yeah. He has a point.
He does. Tox, how was your week, man? The Giants are still playing pretty well.
Yes, they are. It's been good. Just been busy with school and everything like that. Finals is next week, so that's what I've been preparing for, doing all that, and like going over review materials in classes and things like that. So I'll be almost done for the semester, and yeah, I'm excited about that. Get the summer break going, and then as well as just, I don't know, just trying to stay out of the heat.
Are you on the quarter system or semester?
Semester.
Yep. Awesome. Congratulations. All right. My week was awesome as well. I decided that I'm going to start growing it out, you know, and apparently I get dogged by these gentlemen for it.
You have to start first. You can't be saying you're going to start now. Oh, look, I got a couple of whiskers. You can't
it took me a while, okay?
For those couple of whiskers.
And what else happened? Yeah, I mean, not much. Pretty straightforward. I was thinking about going to a Brewers game, but I didn't go. I should have gone and watched Derek Jeter because the Yankees were in town this week.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
So I'm pretty cool. But I figured that I'm gonna wait until he goes to Chicago and goes to the White Sox because I definitely want to see him in his last year. So that's my last chance, I guess. But yeah, like I said, and that's been awesome. Paul Pierce sucks, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's talk. But let's talk about topic. Oh, and just so you know, we'll talk about this later. All right. So yeah, so let's start talking about stuff. Let's see. What did I send you guys today? Okay, so let's start with the NBA, I guess, and let's hold up on the playoffs, and let's talk about the new Golden State Warriors coach which is Steve Kerr. Now, if you guys are like,
my boy, Steve Kerr,
you are showing your age again, my friend. If you
My boy.
if you guys don't know who Steve Kerr is, he's basically a commentator. He commentates on games. He was a pretty decent shooter. Okay.
Whoa.
What?
He has the highest percentage for three-point shot in the history of the NBA. Give the man his props.
Yeah, calling him a pretty good shooter is like
calling.
That's just wrong.
Reggie Miller.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Steve Kerr was the man. Steve Kerr is the man. Five-time NBA Finals champion too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 time.
5 time.
5
3
times.
with the Bulls, 2 with the Spurs.
All right. So a great role player. And
Absolutely.
now he is the head coach of arguably the most efficient shooting team in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors. So let's start on that side of the pond, and let's talk to the Warrior fans here. What do you guys think about the hiring?
I like the hiring. I was shocked. I thought it was a done deal that he was going to go to the Knicks, but it makes sense that he stays in Cali. He has a house in San Diego. He said he wanted to stay close to his home. And I also think he didn't want to be Phil Jackson's puppet. You know what I mean? I think if he would have went to New York, he would have been forced to run the triangle. Everybody would have been giving Phil Jackson all the credit and not Steve Kerr if the Knicks got turned around. So I could see why he wouldn't want to go to the Knicks. The Warriors have a better situation. They have expiring contracts that are coming to an end. You still have Steph Curry. You still have Klay Thompson. The team is still young. I think it makes sense. I was shocked. Again, I thought it was a done deal that he was going to go to New York, but I'm happy to have him. You know what I mean? I
Really?
think, yes, I am. I mean,
What has he done?
Huh?
What has he done, coach? Like, do you really think that he's going to bring something new that a random guy off the street wouldn't?
I mean, do I think he's going to bring something new besides Mark Jackson? I really don't know. Steve Kerr has never coached, but then again, Mark Jackson never coached, and he got the Warriors to back-to-back playoffs for the first time since 1991-92. We also have to remember that Doc Rivers, he didn't have any coaching experience. He helped the Orlando Magic, turn their season around when he got hired there, and then, of course, took the Boston Celtics to the finals and won versus the Lakers back in 2008. So I think Steve Kerr can get the job done. He was the GM of the Suns back in 2007 through 2010, and that team was pretty stacked. He definitely has a basketball mind, basketball background. I like it. I think if he can instill some type of discipline on offense and stop the Warriors from turning the ball over, then I think it's a win-win. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want them to go out and get Van Gundy and replace Mark Jackson with him. So I'm very happy that they got Steve Kerr.
What do you think, Tox?
At this point in juncture, I mean, he has some leverage, as what Dawkins was saying, as being a previous GM and everything like that. So he has experience with management and as well as recruiting players. But at the same time, though, it's a little bit different when you're doing X's and O's on the bench there. And so we'll see how much of a dynamic coach he'll be for the Warriors, if he can motivate the players as well as Mark Jackson did. But I mean, if he's good, if he can sufficiently implant the triangle offense for the Warriors, I think it'll be a really good thing, because then that makes it so Curry doesn't have to always handle the ball and play off the ball a lot more. So that's what he prefers, because it's triangle offense. It's more sharing the ball involved and everything like that. Nobody has the full control of the ball all the time. So that's one thing that I think would work for the Warriors because of their athleticism and everything like that, and their shooting abilities. So they can spread the floor more with that triangle offense, and then drive if they need to on the smaller players. And I see that for Kerr, more or less, it's just I think that it was him more or less feeling comfortable with with the situation of the Warriors having implemented stars there that were going to be staying there, whereas Melo.
Stars. Okay.
Well, Melo
man,
is
come on,
Melo
man.
is up
Steph
in the air
Curry
at
is
this.
a star. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Melo is a question mark on the Knicks right now, so he don't know if he's really going to fully stay with them. So that was another thing. I mean, I don't know if he could have gotten a guarantee from Carmelo to stay in New York. So that's I think another reason why he moved to Golden State and decided to take that job. And of course, yeah, what Doc Owens was saying is that his family's down here in the San Diego area, and his daughter goes to Cal and everything like that. So he's got family that can be supportive and everything like that around him, so he can, I guess, not feel homesick too much, and then at the same time, and so that maybe that will help support like the team in general. So then he'll have like a good mood instead of like
Exactly.
being away from your family and not always being like there, like emotionally, I guess you could say.
Okay. You're pulling the strings. All right.
So
Scott, what do you think, man?
Well, for somebody who's not a Warriors fan whatsoever, I, first of all, was kind of surprised that you would fire a coach who brought that team to the playoffs and to a seventh game back-to-back years, but they let Jackson go anyways. With the signing of Steve Kerr, I like it. I've always been a huge Steve Kerr fan back in the day, dating my age.
Man, I was a Steve Kerr fan too, so.
Yeah, but he was a great player, great shooter, and I think he can help that team out. So
yeah,
I like it. I thought it was kind of cool to see a former Bulls player hired as a coach.
I hope they start training camp early for them so they can practice that triangle offense, because that's a difficult thing to master.
Yeah, it is. It's almost as difficult as the octagon offense. You guys are so ridiculous and so biased. It's crazy.
I want to hear it. Come on, bring it.
Okay, look, the Golden State Warriors are a great team, and I want to give you guys credit for that, or I guess the Oakland GMs or whoever the freak is in charge of that team. I want to give them credit for creating a great team and making them a contender. But in reality, it doesn't really matter who you put there, because they're going to keep firing up shots. They're going to keep missing shots. They're going to keep relying on a star, and they're not going to go anywhere. Because when you have
don't all the major teams that championship contenders rely on the star?
Como?
Yeah.
Como?
What he said is, don't most of the teams with stars rely on their stars?
Yes, but the difference is a lot of other stars aren't point guards. You can't win with a star point guard. And in this day and age.
Okay.
And so because of that, I think that somebody like Steph Curry, who has a great shot, and I'm not
Tony Parker would not talk about you, even though you're.
Hey, the Bulls' first 3 championships, they won with B.J. Armstrong on that team, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said in the modern era. All right. I mean, we're not talking about when dinosaurs roamed the earth, Scott. We're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. So can I finish, please?
Go ahead. Finish.
Right. Thanks, guys. Jeez Louise, all right? So,
thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. So this is what I'm saying. This is basically what I'm saying, all right? Is you can put anyone you want in there, and, I mean, really, it's all about publicity. And
wow,
the Warriors
really
are
going
trying
there?
Excuse you. The Warriors are trying to make a splash, all right? They're trying to make people watch this team. They're trying to keep people interested. They're trying to do that because, really, like, octagon, hexagon, square offense doesn't really matter as long as they're going to keep firing up shots and going to keep missing. Like I said, because
the Warriors have a great and amazing fan base, no matter even if they're losing.
Right.
You cannot have a point guard that fires that many shots be your only type of offense. And I know you guys are gonna say, well, we have Bogut and we have David Lee and we have
I ain't gonna say that.
Amir Johnson or whoever that dude is that comes off the bench, whatever that black dude, that little skinny wannabe Kevin Hart, a little bit taller guy is. What really happens is you fall into a hole. Okay, because their defense does not play very well. The defense.
Yo, Professor Living, can you let somebody else speak?
Okay, but let me finish my thought here because you guys keep on interrupting me.
You're not finishing the thought. You're going from one thought to the next.
Okay, this is it. I'm almost there. Okay, I'm almost there. And thank you for calling me Professor, by the way. That was very, very.
You're welcome. You're
humble.
welcome. No, I know that will make your day. Now, come on.
Yeah, it definitely brushed my ego a little bit in the right way. Okay.
All right, come on, man.
Okay, Goose.
But again, this is it. Okay, this is all I'm gonna say, and then you guys can just go ham because I know everyone wants to get in on this. All right.
I can go ham. I'm just gonna ask you a question. Go ahead.
Steph Curry is a great player, and he can and he can make the passes and he can make the shots. But when you rely on somebody like that to carry a team solely based on shooting, it's basically like relying on Ray Allen to carry a team. It's not the best.
No, bruh.
All right. So, yes, they did it for a PR move. Awesome. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you put in there. They're still going to possibly be a contender, but they'll never get past the second round or the first.
Okay.
Well, we'll see who they recruit since they know that they got.
All right. Well, if Tox is right, and they're going to implement, the triangle offense, which is going to take the ball out of Steph Curry's hands, I think that's going to be a benefit because you're right. Steph Curry is a shoot-first type of point guard. He's a phenomenal shooter. But if you remember last year when the Warriors got past the Nuggets and went to, I believe, a Game 6 or Game 7 versus the Spurs, the Warriors were at their best when Jarrett Jack was handling the ball and Steph Curry could come off those screens like a Ray Allen, like a Reggie Miller, like even a Steve Kerr, and then get wide open for those threes. That's where he's best. Yes, Steph Curry can shoot off the dribble. He's very good at it, but he's at his best coming off of a screen. They did it last season, and it worked. Do I feel like the Warriors are the best team in the West? Absolutely not. But with this move, I feel like if Steve Kerr, can implement some type of discipline on offense where they're not turning the ball over as much, then this team is a very, very different team than what you're talking about, Living. Because I know everybody sees them chucking up threes and they're not always going in. That's fine. A lot of teams in the NBA today chuck up threes. The good ones, the ones that are advancing deep into the playoffs, they are protecting the ball. They're protecting the ball. Don't sit here and tell me that LeBron James wasn't chucking up threes. Don't tell me that Chris Paul sometimes doesn't chuck up threes. Don't tell me that Westbrook doesn't chuck up threes in the playoffs. If you've been watching the playoffs, almost every team has been chucking up threes. The difference between those teams and the Warriors turn the ball over way too much. The Warriors couldn't keep DeAndre Jordan off of the glass. That was the biggest reason for why the Warriors didn't move on to the second round of the playoffs.
Okay, turnovers are the problem. Do you think Steve Kerr is going to help them with turnovers?
Yeah, all I've been saying since the first round of the playoffs, if Mark Jackson can control the turnovers, then the Warriors have a chance. They couldn't do it. They couldn't keep DeAndre Jordan off the glass, and they lost. Almost every single game was close. Almost every single game was close. There was only 2 blowouts. One of them went to the Warriors. One of them went to the Clippers. Other than that, the other 5 games were pretty close. If they don't have those turnovers, if they can get DeAndre Jordan off of the glass, we might be talking about the Warriors in the Oklahoma City Thunder going at it in the second round. But they weren't able to do that. So if Stephen Kerr can come in and implement some type of discipline on the board, some type of discipline with the offense and the fact that they turn the ball over so much, if he can tone that down, then I do feel like the Warriors are a better team.
So you mentioned Jarrett Jack, but before we go into that, quickly, Scott, what do you think about everything that's been said?
Well, not having followed basketball as often as I did in the past, I do agree. I mean, if you need to work him not being the ball handler and all those shots. If you work the rest of the team, and any team, any coach will tell you, you cut down the turnovers, you're more than likely going to win the ball game. They turn the ball over.
That's all I've been trying to say all this whole time.
And I think Steve Kerr will have a different perspective on how to run their plays and not just to shoot first, because he was obviously a part of that triangle offense, and he was a part of that star, but they didn't use that star and Michael all the time. They had their center.
Exactly.
They had Luke Longley. They had Bill Weddington. They had Tony Kukoc coming in off the bench. And I think the Warriors have a team like that, and if they could utilize what they have differently and get everybody in and not just rely on Steph Curry, then I think they could be a good team. Of course, I myself still like to see the Bulls.
Yeah, man, I miss the Bulls being good in the playoffs, man. Those are the days.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Okay, if I could piggyback on that real quick, I'm just gonna ask this: how much?
Okay, I remember. Up on.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I watched the Bulls in the 90s. You know, the Warriors weren't that good in the 90s, so my favorite team was the Bulls. Favorite player was Jordan. But the question I have: how much did the point guard carry the ball or handle the ball in the triangle offense? You know, because they had Ron Harper. He hardly had the ball. Steve Kerr hardly had the ball. You know what I mean? The ball was always moving. Steve Kerr could get open to knock down those threes. There's a reason why his percentage is the highest in NBA history at 45.2 or whatever, because he was always open. So if they can implement that where Steph Curry can come off the screens, I think it's going to work out great.
And even then, Jordan didn't always run that offense. He didn't always carry the ball.
Yeah, he didn't. He
was the one that they set up to go to.
Yeah.
What?
I said most of the time he would let his team do the thing, and then Jordan was great at getting his whole team involved, and then when they were struggling, he would step in.
Right. And that's what the Warriors need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steph Curry needs to be the guy that involves the rest of his team, work everybody in the game inside and out, you know, and when they do get in trouble, he's the one that needs to step up and take over and control the game, whether it's shooting outside, whether it's driving, or whatever. I remember the little bit I played in high school, they always say, they always did drills, 5 passes before you even shoot the ball.
Yeah, I remember playing like that.
And you do that. You move the ball around, better shots, better opportunities are going to come up.
And everybody gets involved.
When you do that, everybody gets involved, and good things happen.
Exactly.
Very true. So bringing up Jarrett Jack, a point guard that can kind of handle the ball and help Steph Curry get those open shots. Steve Blake came in. He didn't really provide that. You guys need to make a decision whether you're going to sign Steve Blake or let him go. Do you see another point guard out there that you guys could possibly go after, or do you think that bringing Steve Blake back for maybe another year, for a whole year, would help?
Again, I feel like it depends on the offense, because Steve Blake is actually a pretty good three-point shooter himself. But we have to find somebody who can facilitate. You know what I mean? I don't really remember the triangle that much, because to me it was 2 different triangles. There was one with the Bulls with Jordan, and then there was another one with Kobe, and it was kind of different. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
Hombre!
I feel like
my internet connection.
I feel like at the end of the day, if they can find anybody to facilitate the ball, whether it's Iggy, whether they bring a different point guard, I think Steve Blake is better off sitting in the corner. I feel like Steph at times can handle the rock and be the facilitator. But I think if they just bring in a whole new offense where everybody touches the ball, everybody can facilitate, it's just going to work out better.
Yeah,
for sure.
The little I know about him and hear about him, I believe he can be like a Tony Kukoc style player on that team. You know, setting the screens, being open outside, or even those, 12 to 20 foot jumpers, but they need to revolve around everybody, not just one player. I mean, Jordan wasn't the only player on that team. Yeah, he stepped up and came through, but he had, his supporting cast, and that's what they need to do.
Yep, for sure. All right. Before we move on to the NBA playoffs right now, to Tox, you were saying something before you left, man. What was that?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. I mean, really, it probably wasn't that important, because you were probably going to agree with me anyways. So let's move on to the NBA playoffs. Let's talk about.
I hate to do this, but I need to head out now.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Forward a little bit today. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, maybe.
All right, man. Sounds good.
Sure.
Keep believing in those days. I know the bullpen struggled yesterday. I was there, 24 rows back from the field, directly behind home.
Yep, covering the microphone.
Amazing. What?
Awesome. Sounds good, man. You want to move on?
So, I'm looking forward to later in the summer going to the game with you guys.
Sounds good, man. Can't wait.
Sounds good, man.
Talk to you guys later.
All
All
right,
right, man.
All right, take it easy.
Awesome to have Scott back, man. He's one of a kind. All right.
Oh yeah.
So let's jump into the NBA playoffs. Let's talk about the games, the series that have already completed, and let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs and those Portland Trail Blazers. One thing that was at the beginning very intriguing was the fact that you were looking at two players that were kind of molds of themselves and different generations. You saw Tim Duncan versus Aldridge, and you saw Lillard versus Parker. So that was very intriguing at the beginning of this matchup. But as time went on, we noticed that one side was significantly better than the other one. Veteran presence always prevails. I
don't know about all that, but
so,
I do agree with you a little bit.
All right. So what do you guys take away from this series?
The biggest difference between the Spurs and Portland was the bench. To me, it wasn't a whole bunch of veteran leadership. I don't know how much of a leader Tim Duncan had to be this series. Tony Parker was lining it up. You could say that he outplayed Damian Lillard. But for the most part, it was the Spurs bench that came through. The Spurs had the number 1 scoring bench, and Portland had the number 29th scoring bench, almost dead last. So to me, it was the difference between this series was the bench. I feel like, the Spurs, I like Damian Lillard. He's from Oakland, California. I like Portland. I was going for them over Houston. I don't know if I picked them, but I really wanted them to win. But at the end of the day, the only team I can see beating the Heat right now is the Spurs. So I'm going to be rooting for the Spurs from here on out because I don't want to see LeBron three-peat. I'm a hater. Call me whatever you want.
The hater. Great.
The hater. Call me hater.
Haterade. All right. Tox, what did you think of the series, man?
I thought that the Portland just kind of seemed a little gassed and out of sorts compared to the last series. Compared to the last series, I think they put just too much more effort in the first round, and so I think because of that, they just lost some steam heading into San Antonio. And of course, San Antonio's bench is clearly a lot better than Portland's, and because of that when you're able to sit your stars from time to time and when you have a lead or when or at least some sort of a lead and bring them back when it gets close or something like that, or if you're down, I think San Antonio just has that overall balance on that team that it was just more superior and more in sync compared to Portland. So so it was kind of to be expected that that we're kind of seeing the trend of, what Dawkins was saying, that it's going to be more likely a Miami versus San Antonio finals. It's either going to be that or it's going to be OKC, which I don't think OKC is just going to be I think they're just going to be putting up too many crazy wild shots with Westbrook there. So,
you talk about a team putting up wild shots.
Yeah. So,
Living there, huh?
well, show. All right. Well, this series, like I said, was interesting to see, but like you guys have said, it kind of got out of hand early. But from what I can take, positives I can take away, if you are a Portland fan, is your team is now a legitimate contender. All their players are kind of blossoming at the same time, which is awesome, and I think that they can pick up somebody in the draft, possibly somebody to come off the bench, like Dawkins said, because I think that Lopez got spent a little bit too early. So maybe bringing somebody in to make sure that they have size out there for the whole time would be kind of cool. So, all right, well, let's jump into the next series, which I really don't want to talk about at all. So I'll just leave it to you guys. Brooklyn versus.
We gotta hear your opinion.
Brooklyn, you don't want it. Brooklyn versus Miami. What did you guys think about this?
No. I want your opinion because you was laying in on the Warriors, laying on your own team, laying on your own team. Okay, let's see what you got to say about the Brooklyn Nets.
Go ahead, you guys. What do you guys think?
No, what do you think, Livin?
I don't think.
You're on the hot seat right now.
I don't think.
All right, guys. What a disaster. Jason Kidd is arguably one of the worst coaches to ever coach a team. Kevin Garnett has been past his prime for the last 3 years. I don't know why we said
He's been past his prime for a long time. He been out his prime since 2008.
It's funny. It's okay.
I think he won the finals. It was downhill.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One thing. No, you're fine. Jesus, freaking Christ, Brooklyn. All right. So let me start by saying this. It showed that, as a lot of us have suspected, and I think Miles, you actually brought it to light a couple episodes ago, that early on the players were kind of listening to Jason Kidd, and they were terrible. And then a lot of the veteran players started being like, okay, you know what? Let's just do this. You know, he's there. Yes, we'll listen to him sometimes, but let's do this, you know, and let's just not even listen to the coach. He's just there for publicity purposes anyway. So that came to light in this series because at no point in time where the coach that has the control of their team put an old bum-ass grandpa playing Paul Pierce on LeBron James, arguably one of the best players in the game.
But Paul Pierce wanted that.
But exactly, he wanted it. But that's when you say, "Look, man, okay, like I know you want it, but when you're getting dogged and we're losing the series, there's a problem. You know, like someone has to call him out. No one called him out. No one sacked KG, even though he gave us 4 points and 4 rebounds a game.
That's what he's gonna give you. I don't know what you want from him. Okay, you have to with the Walker. Okay?
Yeah. Question is, who would you put on LeBron?
Exactly.
Who would I put on LeBron?
Who else?
Okay, look. Okay, this is who I would put on LeBron. Okay, AK-47. All right.
Man, he ain't been AK-47 for a long time. He ain't been AK-47 for a long time. Okay. But
at this point, you got to wait. All right. So AK-47 has better defense than Paul Pierce, but he doesn't give that offensive spark, arguably. All right. But
exactly. So would you want him on Bosh?
What?
Would you want Paul Pierce on Bosh? Because he has to be in for offensive purposes.
Yeah.
I would bring Paul Pierce off the bench. All right.
Man, you so full of it. No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would, because what he did, we had a shot to win the game. We were up in the fourth quarter. We could have closed this out, you know, and all that blobbering at the mouth that Paul Pierce did about, oh, this is why they brought me here. Well, look what. Look what happened, okay? Because arguably he lost us the game with his reckless play.
No, you can't say that.
Ball handling ability. And
I'm gonna be real.
Be real, son.
Y'all didn't have a chance.
Yep.
Y'all did not have a chance. Y'all did not have a legitimate chance to beat the Heat. I don't know.
We swept Miami in the regular season.
In the regular season.
Guess what? That's 4 wins.
Hey,
that's 4 wins. That's a series win.
Yes. Y'all won 4 regular season games. Y'all won 4 regular season games versus the Heat. Do you also know who else won a series versus the Heat in the regular season? The Indiana Pacers. Now, how many of us are picking the Indiana Pacers to beat Miami if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Not too many. Not too many. Come on, man. Regular season. Miami, they didn't really play their hardest in the regular season. Dwayne Wade missed 28 games in the regular season. It wasn't the full Heat in the regular season. To me, Brooklyn, they did what they did. And congratulations, because they got past the Raptors, and that's kudos to them because they started off this year so bad. They started this year horrible, and they got to the playoffs. They won a playoff round, and they got to Game 5 versus Miami. Kudos to them. Joe Johnson, he's not the same shooter he used to be in Atlanta. D. Will isn't the same point guard he used to be in Utah. AK-47 isn't AK-47 in Brooklyn. Kevin Garnett isn't the big ticket no more. Paul Pierce is the lie and not the truth anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's like again, if this team was put together in 2002, it's the best team in the world. But it's not. It's not 2002. It's 2014. Paul Pierce is out there with the cane. Kevin Garnett is out there with the Walker. It's not good. It's not good. In my honest opinion, living, they have to find other talent to put around D. Will, and I don't even know if D. Will is the man at point guard anymore.
Whoa! Bold statements from somebody that would rather have. Oh, whatever. Go ahead, Tox.
Wait. Just hit me out. At one point, we were comparing D. Will and CP3 to the best point guards in the league, right? It was those two, right? And then Rondo came in the league, and then Tony Parker stepped his game up. And now we got Steph.
That was back when he was in Utah.
Yeah, that was back when D. Will was in Utah. I mean, Rondo has a bad team around him. Rondo has a horrible team around him.
D. Will had a horrible team around him last year, and he still was able to make them a contender.
A contender or get to the playoffs? Y'all never get to the second round. Okay.
What are you talking about? Okay,
and it's the East we're talking about here.
The East we're talking about. You guys gonna get to the second round in the East.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're built to win your conference. You're built to win your conference.
Yo, okay, look. At the end of the day, Darren Williams has not been a top point guard since he left Utah.
So what you're saying
is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard.
So what you're saying is
he's top 5.
If the Warriors, if Curry was in the East, it'd be game over, son, over there in the East.
Oh yeah, no, it would be. But are you sitting there telling me right now that the Nets are better off with D. Will at point guard than another point guard around the NBA?
Yes.
Would you take D. Will over Stephen Curry?
Yes.
Chris Paul?
Yes.
A healthy Derrick Rose?
Not Chris Paul, but yes over Derrick Rose.
Westbrook?
Yes. Because of his facilitating ability.
His facilitating ability. Okay.
Yep. So this is okay. This is the thing with Brooklyn, and I think that I'm happy.
John Wall.
I am.
Yeah, John Wall. Thank you. I forgot about John Wall. John Wall.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't. Stop your lying.
Yes, it is because
stop your lying. You would take Jeff Teague over D. Will right now.
Look, D. Will is one of the best point guards in the game. Still, he doesn't get enough
2008.
He can make all the plays.
2008.
All the shots. He can make all the passes, but he doesn't get enough recognition because he's more of a facilitator now. Because that's what KG and Paul Pierce and Joe Johnson. He feels like he has to do. So this is what Brooklyn you have to do next year. All right, you got to get rid of the old guys. You got to give Joe Johnson more of a role because when he did go off, he went off amazingly in these playoffs. And one of the best quotes I heard during the post game interview with Joe Johnson was he does what's best for his team. And when you hear that, you're like, that's why we lost because Joe Johnson has been killing it these whole playoffs, and he did what's best for a team. So if you're in a huddle and you got freaking Kevin Garnett with his stank breath, and you got Paul Pierce with his cane, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna let someone else go for it. When really, Joe Johnson should have been taking the last shot.
No, you know what? Joe Johnson is not like a spring chicken anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He is
Joe
a spring.
And he's not a superstar either. Otherwise,
he'd
be demanding it. He'd be demanding the ball, no matter who it was.
Joe Johnson, he's in like the last leg of his career. Let's be real, okay? It's not like he's in the prime of his career.
He's not
and like Cox said,
he's not done.
I didn't say he's done. I said he's in the last leg of his career, okay? The best of Joe Johnson is not going to come back next year. You know what I mean? Did he do his thing in the playoffs? Absolutely. Was he the best player on the Nets in the playoffs? Absolutely. But to Tox's point, if you're a star, you demand the ball. It doesn't matter who's around. You demand the ball. The best thing for the Nets probably is to have Joe Johnson shoot the most. But he really did shoot the most. It wasn't like Paul Pierce was chucking up a heck of shots. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day,
he was in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter? Well, Joe Johnson clearly didn't want to take the shots in the fourth quarter. Someone got to shoot. What you going to do? Just dribble on the 24-second clock just down?
No, you give it to D. Will, which they didn't do.
Yeah, well, if D. Will is really the facilitator, then he needs to facilitate just a little bit better.
And by the way, okay, Mr. Jason Collins is on the team. We didn't even play him. All right. So.
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, why even have him on the team? I mean, again,
In case somebody goes down, that's why you have backups.
This is it. This is the problem with the Nets. Is that their heads are too far in the clouds.
No,
right?
The problem with the Nets is that they think that D. Will's back in Utah and Joe Johnson is back on Atlanta. That's the problem with the Nets. The two best players didn't really show up, in my opinion. They didn't show up, in my opinion. Yeah, they didn't show up, in my opinion. Okay? I mean, to me, there's a problem in Game 1, the first round, when Paul Pierce is taking the last shot of the game. That's a problem. Yes, it went in. Yes, it went in. It went in. And that's why y'all got him there. So he can win y'all Game 1 in the first round. That's why y'all got him there. Okay? But again, to me, that's a problem when you have Joe Johnson, when you have D. Will. That's a problem when Paul Pierce, the lie, not the truth, is just out there chucking up shots.
Hombre.
Yeah, he gone.
He gone again. Hopefully he comes back. All right. So then, going into next season, what do the Nets have to do, in your opinion, to get better?
They got a lot of money tied up in other places, man. It's gonna be hard. D. Will's ain't like D. Will cheap. All right, Joe Johnson ain't cheap. Paul Pierce ain't cheap. KG ain't cheap. Your boy AK-47 ain't cheap. So all I'm saying,
boy, man.
He is your boy. All I'm saying is, it's almost as if they have to rebuild, because it's this again. You take Chicago's roster and you give them a healthy Derrick Rose. Are the Nets better than the Bulls?
Yes.
No, you're being biased. Be real. Be real. Stop being biased. Be real.
I mean,
no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Indiana, even though they struggled, can you say Brooklyn is better than Indiana? Not really. Better than Miami? Not really. Is Brooklyn even really better than Washington right now? Not really. You know what I mean? So right now, y'all probably like the 5th or 6th best team in the East if D. Rose comes back healthy. Yeah, I said it. Okay? And I'm being real. You know, yo, bro, the truth hurts. Okay? The truth hurts. But
that's not real. The truth. That's just the words fit together that don't make sense.
Okay, Brooklyn better than Miami?
No.
Indiana?
Yes.
Ah, get out of here.
Come on, man. Really?
Get out of here.
Really?
Get out of here. No, man. No.
Okay, let's go position by position then. Who do you take, D. Will or freaking whoever the point guard is for that team?
For who? For Chalmers? Are you talking about Chalmers?
Indiana.
Okay, D. Will or Greg Hill or George Hill, whatever his name is. I'll probably take D. Will.
Okay, next position. Obviously, you have to go with Paul George over Joe Johnson.
Yeah, Paul George. Yeah.
Okay, next position.
Small forward, Joe Johnson, or who's the small forward of the Pacers? I don't know.
No, Sean. Well, yeah, yeah. So you have to.
So Steven. Okay, so Stevenson's the 2, and then we got Paul George at the 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so point guard D. Will. 2 guard, I'm going with Stevenson. He's a little bit more athletic
than Joe Johnson?
Yes, he's a little bit more athletic than Joe Johnson.
Get the F out of here, man.
He's a little bit better facilitator than Joe Johnson, right? I like Stevenson.
He had 0.2 assists a game.
You're always looking at stats, bruh. Stop looking at stats, okay? Joe Johnson is really a one-trick pony. He can't really drive. He can't really shoot.
He can't drive?
He can't drive, no. Bruh, no. No.
Okay, fine. No. Whatever. You know what? Keep going.
Okay, I'll keep going. Paul George, Paul Pierce, George. David West, I guess cool KG, David West. Roy Hibbert or Blatch or Lopez? Roy Hibbert.
Lopez over Hibbert.
No, okay. I'll give you Joe Johnson over Stevenson. I'm not gonna give you Lopez over Hibbert. That ain't gonna happen.
You're really not gonna give me Lopez over Hibbert?
No, because where was Lopez at? Did he even play? Are we talking about Casper the Friendly Ghost, or are we talking about like an actual player?
We're talking about starting rosters of the season right now.
Starting rosters of the season, I would probably go with Roy. Yeah, if we're going way back to the beginning of the season, Roy Hibbert.
No, beginning of next season is what we're
beginning of next season, I'm gonna go with Roy Hibbert. He went fishing
better there.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll give you Joe Johnson over Stevenson, but Stevenson's still young. To me, he has not hit his ceiling. To me, Joe Johnson, with every game, every season, gets closer and closer to his floor, gets closer and closer to the door where he's kicked out of the NBA.
That's so disrespectful. Okay. Well, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because man, that took a while. It's 6:19. All right, so let's move on very quickly. Next series, Clippers and OKC. OKC is up 3-2 in this series. Do you guys think the Clippers have a chance?
I do think the Clippers have a chance. Is going to LA for Game 6. I see it going to 7. I think I picked it to go to 7 when we made our predictions for round 2. I don't trust Oklahoma City when Westbrook and Durant think that they're just the best option, which they, on paper, they're always the best option, but for the team's sake, they're not always the best option. When they just keep chucking up shots, I can't trust that. So I see the Clippers winning Game 6, taking it to Game 7. And to me, it doesn't matter because I feel like whoever faces the Spurs are going to end up losing anyway.
Yeah, I think so too. I think just Westbrook is just gonna not be the facilitator that they want him to, like it's always been, and that's gonna affect how that series plays out when they play San Antonio. Because if they play San Antonio, but yeah, I think though the Clippers, they still do have a chance. You can't count them out especially when you have Blake Griffin there, and who's upped his game a lot. You saw that in the previous series.
Against which team?
Against against the Golden State Warriors. Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all went to Game 7 versus the Raptors. Okay, y'all went to Game 7 versus the Raptors.
The Raptors are a good team, all right?
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
DeMar DeRozan will take.
It's not the same thing. 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 It's not the same thing.
It is. It is.
No, it's not.
Warriors would kick the Raptors' asses in a series.
Man, put the Warriors in the East. They go into the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different conference. They're built differently. Shooting up, firing up.
Built differently?
Yeah,
they're built differently. You're right, Livin. They are built differently. They're built to win. Okay?
No.
Yes.
No.
They're built to win.
The East is built on defense and grit.
Bias.
All right?
That's a bias. That's bias. That's so biased. I can't believe you just said that. No, keep it but.
If you have a losing record, you're still okay to make the playoffs. That's cool.
Don't come to the West Coast. Keep your butt over there with your biased self.
What are you talking about? What are you about? The West is all about glitz and glamour. That's all it is. Firing up.
Okay. So the Spurs.
It's about defense, about rebounding, about block shots. You don't see a defender win Defender of the Year in the West. Except
Ibaka, DeAndre
I'm about to say Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, I mean,
DeAndre Jordan. Did DeAndre Jordan win it this year?
Andrew Bogut when he's healthy.
All right, hang on. Yo, living.
Oh man, living.
Peep game. The Spurs, fantastic defensively. All right, you're talking about centers and rebounding, and it's tougher in the East. Okay, the most efficient centers were in the West. Cousins, Sacramento Kings, was more efficient than all the other centers of the East. Okay, we already know about DeAndre.
Noah, get the F out of here.
He was more efficient.
Really?
He was more efficient.
All around, offense and defense.
Yeah, he was more efficient. My goodness, when you talk about the East, you talk about one person down low, and that's Noah. Oh, the East, it's rougher out here. Lopez is hurt. Okay, and peep game. His twin brother in Portland is more defensively sound than him in the rough and tough Eastern Conference playing for the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, last time I checked, wasn't Brooklyn kind of finessed this year? Last time I checked, wasn't the New York Knicks just a little bit finessed this year? Doesn't Atlanta play finesse ball? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's stalling for time. No.
This, all right. The Knicks played great defense this year.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
Next topic.
You think
next topic.
People copying defense from what team?
Next topic.
Yeah. And look where they were in the playoffs.
In the
They were sitting at home.
Get out of here.
What?
They didn't even make the playoffs. That's how good their defense was.
Man.
It was
Get out of
good.
here, man. I mean, how long people gonna say that the East is more physical? It's not. It's slower because these players are not athletic. It's a lot slower.
Blake Griffin would not survive in the East. Bottom line.
No wait. I'm gonna name you one power forward that has not survived in the East, and that's Carlos Boozer. Okay, he doesn't survive in the East. Okay, Blake Griffin can survive in the
Came
East.
from which?
And Millsap, he did well for Atlanta because he came from Utah.
Yeah, he came from Utah. Okay, but what about your boy D. Will? Your boy D. Will came from Utah too.
And he's
He ain't surviving tough either, huh?
And
That pretty boy is
up the East. Yep.
Nah,
Monster.
man. The East is slower because they're a lot older and not as good, not as athletic as the West.
We have the best player, LeBron James, and you guys are saying that we're slower? What do you?
And that's why he's feasting.
Yeah, okay,
that's why the Heat are feasting on the whole Eastern Conference.
LeBron
They would have so much more competition in the
You guys are
West.
saying that we're slower. We have arguably the best point guards in the game in D. Will and John Wall and Are you serious right now?
Look, people.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh, my goodness.
You have named a starting lineup from like 5 teams. You put 5 teams together and made one starting lineup out of East players. Do you know how many starting lineups we can make out of the West? Okay? We have the best player in LeBron James. Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. That's why Miami is running things in the East. That's why they're running things in the East. Because the rest of the teams suck. Flat out doo-doo. Okay? They suck. Okay? Brooklyn sucks. Okay? They
Easy
suck.
now. Those are harsh words.
Because peep game, Memphis had a better record than
Shut up with
Brooklyn.
that peep game shit.
Yo,
Peep game.
check it out. I'm changing it up. Check it out. The Suns, Memphis, all had a better record than Brooklyn. Okay, my goodness. Let's move on. Talking about the East is more hardcore. Get out of here, man.
And when Dwight Howard was in the East with the Magic, I mean, he was dominating, but when he came here to the West, was a different story. Different story.
It had to be a different story, right? Yeah, he changed. Yeah, get out of here.
All right. Indiana versus Washington. What do you guys think about this? Does Washington have a shot, or has Indiana hit its stride?
Man, I ain't watching this series. I could care less. I'm waiting for the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm waiting to see if any of those teams have a chance to take down Miami. Washington seemed like they're really just a one-hit wonder. To me, Washington reminds me a lot of Portland. Not too many people pick Portland. Not too many people pick Washington. But John Wall stepped this game up. I really feel like Indiana's going to win this game. I think they do play today. I think it's going to be over today. And at the end of the day, I think, it's going to be Indiana taking on Miami, and I see Miami walking away with the Eastern Conference championship.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, but at the same time, though, you still got to be wary of Indiana because since they are known to have really laugher games where they just flat out just suck at and aren't able to score and everything like that. And that's when they lose by a bunch of points, like 30, 40 points a game,
That's
like those times that they lose. So that's one thing you just got to keep in the back of your mind, though, is that they do have a tendency to get blown out in losses and things like that. So
That is true.
if they don't bring the air game, like every time they step on that court, they're just going to continue to get manhandled on those games, and then sooner or later, once they bump into Miami, for sure they're going to get their asses handed to them again.
Ooh, yeah, definitely.
This is not Bash the East show. All right.
Well, this ain't Pump the East Up show neither.
All right. Jeez Louise. I
East is
hope
more
that
hardcore.
America's team,
Got it.
the Washington Wizards, do come through.
America's team.
And
You come
come back.
from the East. Look at you, man.
I mean, I think that Indiana doesn't have a shot against Miami. I love that matchup with John Wall absolutely destroying Miami. I think that he can. I think that their athleticism and their shooting ability can create problems for Miami. So
Really?
I do think that if Washington can do it, and I really am pushing for them, if they can get past Indiana, then I think that they have a better shot than Indiana.
Is that right?
So that's I'm hoping for that. But yes, all right. So moving on to our last topic. Welcome back, my friend. Oh my!
This time because I can use my hotspot on my phone because the internet's going in and out right now. So
Hey, man, whatever is clever.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on to our last topic, which is drugs in sports. Now, I bring this up because of Josh Gordon getting suspended for a year because of the use of marijuana. Marijuana has been a major um, uh, issue, I guess. That's kind of not the right word that I want to use in the NFL. And I want to start with Dawkins on this one. What do you think about the suspension? Do you think it's justified, and do you think that drugs are even a serious problem in sports, more specifically the NFL?
Drugs are an issue in all sports. Let's not forget that steroid is a drug, and that's more prevalently in baseball. Let's not forget that when Mario Chalmers and Beasley got drafted back, I believe in 2009, they were at a drug symposium, helping NBA players not do drugs and helping them to find ways to help their addictions, and they were in the hotel room of the symposium smoking weed. So I think drugs is a problem in all sports. In the NFL, it's definitely a big problem because in the NFL you have a lot more time on your hands. The football season is really only 4 to 6 months. But again, at the end of the day, when you have a lot of time on your hands, you do have thousands of dollars, and sometimes these players have millions of dollars, it's easy to fall back into old bad habits. With Josh Gordon, this isn't his first time doing it, and that's why he's getting suspended for a season. I'm more worried about what the Browns are going to do. You got Johnny Manziel. Josh Gordon's supposed to be his go-to guy. He won't be there for the whole season. Now what are you going to do? You didn't pick up a receiver in the draft. You still have the same bum receivers on your team outside of Josh Gordon. He's gone. So, again, I really feel like, he definitely has a problem. We have to remember that he was at Baylor, and he got kicked out of Baylor. The year that RG3 got drafted, he was going to go. Josh Gordon was going to go back to school. Baylor kicked him out, so he entered the supplemental draft. The Browns ended up picking him up. And last year, he was suspended for the first 2 or 4 games of the season because of the same offense. And now he did it again, so he's going to be gone for a year. But I think I don't think it's more which sport it is. I think it's just, the lifestyle that these players live. It could be baseball, it could be hockey, it could be soccer, it could be basketball, it could be football. If you're around people that do drugs, you're more likely to do drugs.
Yep, that's definitely true. It's like, definitely the surroundings. Even if you're not a drug person or something like that, the amount of time that you hang around people that do drugs, you're bound to most likely test it out at least once or twice and things like that. So you can't really escape it if you're around it a lot and everything like that because of the drug presence there. Sports in general. I mean, drugs have always been a part of all the sports, every single sport. It's just a matter of, I guess you can say, a matter of health, because it's not always about, because there are some drugs that, like over-the-counter drugs that it can be helpful and things like that, but at the same time they can be like bad as well too. So it's just more or less drugs are around us and part of us, like around whole society. It doesn't matter what type of drug it is. It's more or less being aware, and especially if you're in the limelight all the time, to be even more cautious about it and try to avoid any type of heavy drugs, especially illegal drugs, as much as you can. But what Dawkins was saying before about money-wise and anything like that, if you got a bunch of money, tend to play with that money a lot too. And so a lot of the time, especially if you're young, because you just happen to have money and things like that, and then if you want to try some things and party it up and things like that, you have the money to do it, and then especially if you're really drunk or something like that, then you're not thinking straight, and that leads to using drugs as well too. So so the Browns, they should probably consider themselves, I guess, fortunate and unfortunate at this time. Unfortunate because they lost their star player, but fortunate that it was caught early, and so then they can deal with it and before the season starts and everything like that, instead of having a mad rush do a full trip, like trying to find somebody to replace him instantly on the field or something like that. They have a little bit of time before the season starts. So I guess that's kind of a blessing in disguise for themselves if you're looking at a positive about it.
That's very true.
Yeah, for sure. This when I heard about it, I wasn't really surprised because I mean that's just the culture of the NFL and a lot of money is given to players that in my opinion aren't mature enough to deal with the money yeah. So I mean, it like Dawkins said, and like you mentioned, Tox, it is a serious problem. I don't see any type of change in the foreseeable future, just because, like you said, Dawkins, they have so much free time on their hands that it really baits them. And when you are surrounded by that type of environment a lot, when you go up and when you're in college, for example, and then you have a ton of money and you feel like you can do everything and your ego just gets so big that you feel like you're untouchable, then it's just going to keep happening. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's a bad way for the Browns to start their season, but, I mean, the Browns are just a disaster. The fact that they have their GM saying that they don't want Manziel to start, and now this happening, and it's like, jeez, I feel really bad for Manziel. He's America's quarterback.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just
you serious, dude? He's America's quarterback. Get out of here.
Yeah, quarterback. All right. But yeah, do you guys have anything else to say about this before we go into our minute to win it? Because we are running a little bit over an hour now.
Yeah, the only thing to think positive is that they had a movie made about him.
Yeah, to me, I totally see where Living is coming from. It's a culture in the NFL. A lot of these players come from impoverished backgrounds, urban backgrounds, hip-hop backgrounds, so smoking weed is a popular thing. But to me, Josh Gordon had a lot of money on the line. We have to remember he was drafted in the supplemental draft, so he's not making a whole lot of money to the NFL standards. You know, he's still on his rookie contract, even though he was number one receiver last year. He's not making a bunch of money, and this right here hurt his chances to make a whole lot more money than what he is making. So it sucks for him. I hope he can get his head on straight, can get his act right. You know what I mean? But it's just a bad situation for him and for the Browns.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Let's end our show the way that we always end our show which is minute to win it. Minute to preach it.
Oh yeah, to preach it. My bad.
Yeah, come on, man. What are you doing here? All right.
I don't know.
So who wants to go first today?
I can go first. Why not? That's what I do.
Yeah, you're always first, man. All right, man. Let me know whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, man. Go ahead.
Today, I realized that there's still an East Coast bias when it comes to toughness, okay? Wow. And back in the 80s, there was a team called the Chicago Bears. They're famous, 85 Bears, right? Rough and tough, right? Well, they only won the Super Bowl one time, and that was in 85. But that defense was supposed to be rough and tough the whole time. While a finesse team from the West Coast called the San Francisco 49ers won 4 Super Bowls in that decade, yes, of the 80s, beating the Bears one time in the NFC Championship game in Soldier Field when the conditions were very, very bad for a finesse West Coast team. It was very chilly. They had Mike Singletary out there smacking people left and right, but Jerry Rice and good old Joe Montana, you can't beat Joe, did their thing. And let everybody know that the Bears cannot beat Joe. And the finesse 49ers from the West Coast went to the Midwest on the East Side and did their thing with the Chicago Bears.
I have to screen these minute to win-its before we do these.
Yeah, you do, man. Talking about some East Coast tougher than the West. Get out of here.
We have 50 Cent. You guys have who? Mariah Carey?
No, first of all, Mariah Carey, I believe, was from New York. We had Tupac. Tupac resonates forever. forever. Okay, Tupac is
Hey,
forever.
look at my shirt, man. Look at my shirt. Who's on the shirt?
Yeah.
Tupac
Easy E.
is forever.
Tupac is forever. Tupac is forever. Okay. I mean, who you rather have, Biggie Smalls or Tupac Shakur?
I would rather have P Diddy.
P Diddy, absolutely, absolutely.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. But everybody from the East Coast wants to come out west. Ain't that right, living?
Mhm.
Um,
Good dog.
ah, your minute. Are you ready, my friend?
All right, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
He's like, if I have to.
I'm going to be talking about just fire safety in general, just because it's summertime and everything, and the heat's there. The grass is going to start drying up and things like that. So make sure to take care of your lawns, and as well as to make sure that if you're a cigarette smoker, to put out your cigarette buds and things like that, and not just flick them out into the streets or even into the, or especially like into grassy areas, because that can start fires. And actually, that started one of the little mini fires here in San Diego. So is to make sure that you put out your cigarette buds and make sure that keep yourself dehydrated, and make sure praying for people up in northern San Diego that are dealing with the fires and having to evacuate their houses and everything like that, and the businesses as well too. So just make sure to be safe out there this summer, and put out your cigarette butts.
Nice, man. What is that? Frosty the Bear?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Little Smokey the Bear out here.
Smokey the Bear. Love it. I love your
Be
minute.
cool about fire safety. Be cool.
Fire safety. All right, you guys. So I'll do my minute, and then we'll end this here because it's already up to almost an hour and a half. All right. So today I'm going to be talking about projects and why they don't fail, or why they do fail. This past week, an organization I was involved in called Rising Stars Studios actually got shut down. The owner felt like he wasn't getting enough support, and he wasn't getting what he really wanted from it. And it is the way that it happened. He decided upon himself that it wasn't worth his time without considering everyone else's time. This was a selfish move. This was a childish move, and it really makes you think about the people that you do business with, because there are certain people that you would go to the end of the earth for to try to make something happen, and there are other people that you believe will go to the end of the earth but actually fall flat. So I may get in trouble for this. I may start a beef. I may do whatever, but
Where's the beef, man? Where's the beef?
But this is my minute, or it was, I guess. All right. Anything else you guys have to say?
Very well spoken, man. I'm going to piggyback on that. When you start something, you should finish it to the end. And if it's your project, you should be the one who's most involved in it, not expecting somebody else to carry it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a word to the wise. People love getting involved in things and hate getting stabbed in the back. And if the older you get, the older you'll learn about taking people's time for granted. But it is no bueno, my friend.
Yeah, because a lot of people worry about the bottom dollar. They worry about, nickels and dimes and pennies and all that stuff and making a whole lot of money. Money you can make back. Money can come, money can go, but your time, you can never get time back. So don't play with nobody's time, man.
We ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time to be wasting with people's time.
We ain't got time. No. They raping everyone out here. They're climbing into people's windows, guys.
What's wrong with you?
They're climbing into people's windows. All right, but yes, that is it. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. All right, and you know who you are. And I don't know if we'll see this again, but I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your actions, and I believe that at the end of the day, what you put on the internet, you have to live with. And the fact that you felt like you could post a video and no one would see it and it would just go by the wayside is stupid. So, all right.
Just use the D word, the disappointed word. So much more heartfelt than than just saying you're mad.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad because when one door closes, another one
That's why
opens.
you gotta say disappoint. It makes it that much heavier.
Doesn't it, Henry? Another one opens.
Yeah.
So I'm excited right now. I quickly just tune in on Sunday at midnight Eastern. It'll change your life. All right, that's all I can say at this moment. I'll make something else for that.
Coming out of the closet.
Oh damn! All right, but yes, last words, you guys, before we get out of here. Brooklyn sucks. Dawkins, last word.
Love my Golden State Warriors, my San Francisco 49ers, the A's, and the Giants. There's no East Coast bias over here, so West Coast bias, suckers.
You acting like I don't like my A's.
Man, I'm acting like you like the Brewers more than the A's.
I mean,
For real.
Braun is a beast. I take Braun over Cespedes.
A lot of people would, but you taking the Brewers over the A's.
No, never.
That's
Never
the problem. That's the problem. You got MLB The Show. What was the first game you did? No, it was the Brewers. You don't gotta say
A's
you did.
and Angels, actually.
No, you know what you did.
Okay, Tox, last words before we get out of here.
Say, West Coast, yeah, is where it's at, man. But the heat, you gotta watch out for that heat, man. Heat you up. And the fire.
Jeez. All right, sounds good. Like I said, I will make a video explaining the new things that are coming up. I'm definitely excited, and everyone should be. And there are definitely opportunities, so it'll be kind of cool. That's coming up. We'll be back here next Thursday, 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific Time, to talk about another bunch of random stuff. But until then, for Mr. Dawkins and for Mr. Henry, I am living. I hate the media, and I'm out. Yeah. How do I get out of here? We're not going to end this with a kiss. Sorry. We're not going to do that. So.